Armory Disc Golfers, welcome back to another video. The 2024 disc golf season is just around the corner, and as always, hope springs eternal. Everyone wants to be at the top, but the talent is deep and it's getting deeper every year. However, despite the odds, there are always a handful of players that are able to move up the ranks and make their name known in the disc golf world, either as a respected player on tour or as a champion among professionals. Today, we're going to look at 5 players that I expect to burst onto the scene in different capacities in 2024. 2 newcomers, 2 corner turners, and 1 final future legend. Let's get into it. To start us off, we have the DGPT Rookie of the Year, Luke Taylor. He won the Rookie of the Year honors for the DGPT by having the most points on tour among rookies. He finished with 237 of them, good for 55th place overall in the point standings, which isn't bad for a guy that only played in 8 events and could still be playing in a junior division if he wanted to. Luke is an absolute prodigy that won the Junior National Championship in 2021 during his sophomore year in high school. He's also got some Matty O vibes with the sunglasses falling off the face look, which gets bonus points from me. He's currently rated 1031, which is significant for deeper reasons that we'll get to in just a minute. But just at the surface level, that's insane, and it places him as the 26th highest rated player in the world. I expect him to continue to improve by that metric as he ages and gets better at the game, and if he's doing that while on tour, I'm expecting him to be a top 20 player this year. A great way to crack into the top 20 is to perform well consistently, which he's shown the ability to do. In 9 Elite Series events last year, he cashed in 8 of them, and while he didn't top 10 any events, I expect this year to be the year that he not only does so for the first time, but does so several times throughout the season. I don't think that he'll pick up his first win on tour this season, but I do expect him to make lead cards and to start to get thrown into more discussions about future superstars of the sport. Next on our list as a newcomer and probably also a future superstar of the sport is 2023 PDGA Rookie of the Year, Paul Kranz. This award, as opposed to the DGPT one, is based on how well players perform at B tiers and above in a given season, which I'll have more to say about those performances specifically in just a minute. I know that it's not the boldest call to say that the 2 players that won Rookie of the Year are set up for breakout years, but these 2 young men are on a trajectory that places them among the superstars of the sport. Over the last 10 years, the PDGA Rookie of the Year has been rated 10, 11, or below 8 times. Many of those are players that have gone on to be solid contributors to tour. Luke Humphreys, Mason Ford, and Chris Dickerson among them. The 2 that were rated above 10-11 in the last 10 years were all the way at 10-25 and 10-27 respectively. Any guesses as to who those might be? If you guessed Kyle Klein and Gannon Buhr, you're right. Non-coincidentally, in my opinion, those 2 guys are also 2 of the top 10 players in the game right now, and being on a similar trajectory as them is a very good sign. This year, Kranz won Rookie of the Year while boasting a 1023 rating, and Taylor took home the DGPT Rookie of the Year honors with that aforementioned 1031 rating. Ratings aren't the be-all end-all for how good a player is or how good they're going to be, but especially as early on in their career as they are, the signs point to something special going on here. Paul is most well known for his frequent appearances on Simon's blogs, but we're about to know him for a lot more than that if he continues to progress how he's projecting. It'll definitely get a click from me whenever he pops up on coverage, and I'm excited to see what disc MVP gives him, which I assume will happen for the first time at some point this year. He's also known for his lethal putting. His 89% from C1X placed him at 6th on tour last year. Granted, that's in a limited number of events, but he's also shown that he can make the big ones when they matter. His win at the main state championships wasn't only an A-tier win, it was also one where he made multiple big putts down the stretch. And he is a proven winner. He had 16 podiums last year in those B tiers and above, with 8 wins. I'm going to repeat that. This dude took 16 podiums at B tiers and above and won 8 of them. I dug around a bit, and the only person in the last 5 years that I could find with a better number than that was Chris Dickerson, who bullied people all year long in 2020. And even that was largely because there was no national tour that year, and he was a top 5 player in the world at that point. I say all that to say there's something really important about knowing how to win when it comes to winning, and Kranz looks like he's well on his way to showcasing his ability to the world to do just that. Another player that I think will finally showcase their ability to win this year is the first in our corner turner category, Aaron Gossage. Gossage currently has 0 Elite Series wins to his name, but he's been all over podiums the last 2 years. His 6 podium finishes at Elite Series events are the most of anyone without a win over the past 2 seasons, including guys like James Proctor and Anthony Barella. Multiple of these podium finishes include playoff finishes where he came just short. His epic battle with Macbeth in the 2022 World Championships and the heartbreaking end to the Portland Open last year are 2 of the most notable. The thing that has plagued Gossage in these events and that's kept him from being a multiple-time winner on tour is his putting in these clutch moments. Pressure bursts pipes, and when it's come down to the wire, he's come up just a bit short in these moments. I mean, it's hard to blame the guy. I do battle with myself mentally at local C tiers, so I can only imagine what the pressure must be like on the Pro Tour stage. But if you want to be on the Pro Tour stage, you've got to make them. And I think that this will be the year that he finally gets the monkey off his back and brings home an Elite Series victory, or 2. Aaron Gossage is one of the top two-way players on tour. His power, both forehand and backhand, set him up to be able to attack just about any hole that lies in front of him. Pressure bursts pipes, but it also makes diamonds. Being in those situations over and over breeds familiarity, which I think is going to help him feel more comfortable and more confident this year, and I'm excited to see what he'll do. Honorable mention to Anthony Barella in this spot, who might have the highest potential of anyone on tour, but I'm giving a slight edge to Gossage. Another honorable mention is to ArmoryDiscGolf.com, where you can find all the best discs at the best price from all major manufacturers. If you need a restock or a hot new drop, come check us out. Thank y'all so much, as always, for your continued support. You're keeping this thing rolling, and we can't express our gratitude enough. Back to breakout predictions, another player that I'm excited to see this year and that I think is poised to turn the corner is Ezra Robinson. If you're a fan of Ezra or Prodigy, or really just follow the goings-on of the tour, you may consider 2023 to be a breakout season for him. But I think that this year will be the year that he becomes known as a legitimate threat to win on any given weekend, instead of just as Isaac's little brother. From 2022 to 2023, he jumped from 69th in the DGPT standings all the way to 12th, but a large part of that was because he played in more events last year than the year before. However, he's not just playing more, he's also playing better. The percentage of times that he placed inside the top 20 of a tour event went from 16% to 62%, and his top 10 percentage went from 0% to 31%. He took a podium finish at the Des Moines Challenge, and he won AFDO, a Silver Series event. I've seen a few comments disregarding or discounting that win because AFDO was the week before Worlds, so the field wasn't as deep as a typical tour event, but my guy shot a 1073 rated event. There have been very few events in the history of the sport that popping off like that doesn't win, regardless of field size or depth. And it shows the level of play that he's able to get to. If Ezra, who is himself still 21 and is already a top 15 rated player in the world, can have any sort of similar jump this year like he did last year, we're going to have 2 Robinson brothers in the top 10 of the sport. Since ending last season with an 8th place finish at the DGPT Championship, Ezra rattled off 4 wins in a row, followed by a 2nd place to Big Bro at a B tier earlier this January. In these last 5 events, which is 11 rounds overall, he's been shooting an average of 1042 rated golf, which is no small feat. According to an Ultiworld analysis done in 2022, the average top 5 finish on the DGPT requires a 1052 rated event. If you're averaging 1042, that puts you on a very short list of people that can not only reach that mark, but that is expected to reach that mark with relative consistency. Hopefully Ezra can carry that momentum into this season, where he'll get a crack at 2 wooded courses at the Chess.com Invitational and Waco to start his tour. And if we've learned anything about Robinsons, it's that they love the woods. Our final feature for this video is the player that I've labeled with the future legend potential, and it is no other than Eliezer Middling. At only 16 years old and already tossing dang near 500-foot bombs, Eliezer has the potential to do things that we've never seen on the FPO side of the sport. Last year, she won the FJ18 National Championship by 20 strokes. I'll remind you that she was 15 years old when this happened. She also won her first A tier in the Open division and finished 10th at the Throw Pink Women's Championship. Even with an extremely limited tour schedule, she's already shown flashes of what we might be seeing for years and years on the FPO side. Is it too early to call that she will be a future legend? Absolutely. But she has the tools at her disposal to absolutely break the game at the FPO level. She reminds me a lot of Eagle McMahon and Simon Lizotte about 10 years ago. They were a little before their time in a sense, and their ability to throw as far as they do opened up opportunities for them that their competitors simply couldn't do. Do I think Ellie is going to surpass and supplant Kristen as the best female player on the planet? Well, certainly not this year, and very likely not within the next few years, but she's coming. Neither Simon nor Eagle were the number one player in the world, even though they threw farther than everyone else. So I don't think Ellie is going to take Kristen's spot on that alone, and I don't think she's going to do it at all anytime super soon. But she could legitimately be the best FPO player in the world and a world champion before she can even pop the champagne to celebrate it. Middling just signed on with DGA for this upcoming season, and though I don't expect her to be a top 5 player, I certainly do expect to see her rattle off hot rounds in tournaments, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if she took home her first Elite Series win this year. With players this young and this new to the game, it's hard to say how good they're going to be and how quickly they're going to climb the ranks, but she's been pretty consistently and linearly improving her rating over the last year and a half since she joined the ranks of the PDGA. If she continues the pace that she's been on in terms of just her rating, which again I know isn't everything, but it is a good barometer of a player's skill, she'll be in the top 5 discussion very, very soon. She reminds me a lot of Ganon from a few years ago with her potential to burst onto the scene as a teenager and completely dominate, and I hope that she's more present on tour this year so that she can. I assume her sponsorship with DGA provides her and her family the means and the incentives to play more tour stops this year, and I hope to be able to watch her several times along the way. With the dawn of a new season, there are hundreds of players that could make their own case for being included in a list such as this. Who do you think will have a breakout season, either as a newcomer that we really get to hear about and know, or as a corner turner that starts picking up wins on tour? Is there another legend waiting in the wings out there? Let me know in the comments below, like the video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.